was walking out one evening late, the moon was rising high, headed for the riverside, around us fuss and fight. Patrolman.
Hello there, Jared. Oh, and that Final guy. Man, he's always in chat. Jared and Final, always there. Can't get away from him. Oh, I forgot to turn chat back up. What? Thanks, Candor. Hey, were you imitating me in Armco chat earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, hello everybody. So we decided to, even though Zoc is still streaming right now, wanted to talk about the Weapon Core tourney that we just did. And spoiler alert, we did not win anything. We lost our first match. We got hit pretty hard. And first off, I want to get out of the gate. Hey, Games. I want to start out of the gate saying that I massively respect Zoc and Enra and John Wack and all the other guys that are involved, and gals, I think, maybe, I don't know, who are involved in doing this. It was a really crazy, amazing experience to see how far SE has come. Weapon Core is incredible. Darkstar and his team have done a great job getting space combat in SE to feel like space combat rather than, well, I have more turrets than you, so I'm going to win. And it was a lot of fun. And as you can see here on the screen, this is our team here. We had they had point lists, everything, rules, an arena, a beautiful skybox. It was incredibly, yeah, Jared. So we lost. We lost pretty hard. Our first match was against the team that actually won the whole test tournament completely, and it was brutal. But we had a lot of stuff going on. I am joined here in chat joined by Final and Candor.
Hello.
Hello.
They are two of the teammates that were flying with me. Scarlet as well. He's on his couch. He's in the AFK channel. We're hoping that he joins us soon. We just wanted to get this out before it got too late for East Coaster Scarlet and Night Owl Candor, who I think has to go to sleep before the sun comes up. I don't know. But, we're getting there. But yeah, so I had a few initial thoughts with this. Now that I've cooled off a little, because there's a little bit of drama surrounding a last minute weapon nerf, and I know I've sounded salty the whole time because we had a strategy. You see these ships here. I'm sure you can see my cursor here. This is Final ship here, and this is Scarlet's, and this is Candor's. These three were kind of tank/tacklers. Candor was the main tank, and these two were a lot of DPS. This ship was designed around... Oop, that was my phone that I forgot to put on silent. Apologies, everyone. This ship, which is my ship, which is the behavioral limiter, was designed around a weapon called the Grimlock, which was a long-range, high-speed maneuverable torpedo, which was a little too powerful. But it was the only answer for the really, really fast, small ships that have been dominating the tournament recently. And so when we discovered that those weapons were so effective against the fast movers, we didn't worry too much about the other ships being slow. And they're not, only Candor ship is really kind of, quote, slow. Both Scarlet and Final ships have respectable speed. But we were matched up against a massive slow ship and three tiny Grimlock armed, what do they call them? They call them joke boats, I think?
Yeah, joke boats.
Joke boats. Scarredface, GE, I just love you and Ebery, the stuff you did with between Kappa. Thank you very much, Scarredface. Good to see you in the stream. Oh. Magic Nod did a banana voice saying, we lost hard, but we got in, so victory. Candor is a British vampire clonk. But, so basically what happened with the Grimlocks is they were too powerful. Like, they were wiping things out. everybody it was going to be the Grimlock meta, right? And so the 14 hours before the tournament start, I was just about to go to bed after Rival Survival last night, which ended kind of rough anyway. And so I was in kind of a poor mood, and then I started doing watching Wasted stream, and then John Wack said something about it being too strong. Or was it John Wack? I don't remember. One of the guys, might have been Enenra, I don't know. And then they nerfed it. They nerfed it so hard into the ground that it wasn't even worth having on the ship as of that night. So I worked hard and tried to redesign my ship, and I wasn't happy with it. So at the end, I just threw torpedoes on it instead, because they were the same basic performance as what the Grimlocks had turned into. And then, but I could put more of them. So I figured, well, maybe I'll hit something with volume of fire, because you all know me, accuracy through volume of fire is great. But it didn't work out too well because they had the really fast movers. I was not slow. I was like 210 meters a second, which is pretty good. Over 200 is pretty fast for this, especially since I had a fair amount of heavy armor. I don't know. Let's see if I can find a different view of the ship here. So yeah, so if you see this right here, that's all heavy armor. This brick of Candor's, this is all armor belt right here. It's amazing. He actually designed against my Grimlocks, taking them to the face without having to worry too much. But so yeah, so the strategy that we'd kind of built together, we actually practiced a little bit, kind of fell apart. And so we just did the best we could, and we were feeling pretty good. And then we found out after we'd lost that the Grimlocks actually had about 70% of that nerf taken back. So my original build would have worked, and would have worked better, but it wasn't communicated. So I got pretty salty. I don't think I took it out too much in stream chat or anywhere, but I left it feeling kind of frustrated, and not taking away from what was it? Team Liver Damage. That's what TLD stands for, right? Yeah. And Team Liver Damage, I'm not trying to take anything away from them. They had a great team. They had a great strategy, good builds on everything, and they took advantage of the rules as they were written, and they worked really, really well. And they didn't panic after the nerf panic, probably because they were asleep, like I did, and completely changed their build. If I had left my build alone, we would have done better. I don't know if we would have won. But the fact that happened just kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. But as far as like how we performed, like I'm really happy with what we did. Like you can see here's starting here. You can see those Grimlocks coming in, and we just shred them. Nobody took a single hit. That last one got real close to me, but we just kind of kept rolling through. And I'm trying to target something. That's one of the boats, and I start firing at the missile boat over there, and I bump into Candor. Because you see I already have dampeners off, so I can do my crazy moves. Oh, I think that bump into Candor might be actually where I lost that
That decoy?
Decoy, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not worried about damaging Candor. I know I didn't damage Candor. You can see how I'm flipping around. I decided to try to target this ship, and it's not letting me target it. I'm rolling my wheel, not targeting. There we go, I get it. And then I start launching missiles. And then after a little bit of firing at this, they start taking some Grimlock hits. And that plus all of these missiles that they've got, you can see I'm firing my point defense lasers down in here, taking out a lot of those destroyers. But the Grimlocks keep coming in and start hurting. See, I actually get notices when I'm hitting him. But this was the armor tank. This was what it was designed to do, to take all this. And at this point, the stream is going, and I didn't know. I didn't have the stream up. The stream's going, oh, they're doing exactly what they want them to do. But meanwhile, those other boats, these things, they're moving at 300 meters a second. None of us can catch them. None of us can hope to catch them. So the idea is take those out, and then maybe somehow we can take these. And now I'm desperately trying to target the other ones. I'm rolling the mouse wheel, nothing. Finally get one. And so I accelerate towards him. And I spend the rest of the match trying to get close enough and just lobbing torpedoes and hoping the torpedoes hit them. But these things were covered with PDs, point defense lasers. See, here comes a Grimlock right at me. Oh no, that one's not right at me. But they just kept lobbing those in. This ship was supposed to do. Now imagine instead of these slow, really easy to kill torpedoes going at him, because they can actually catch him, but he can move fast enough to dodge them, is what they do. They would dodge them and the point defenses go out. Imagine if they were Grimlocks moving at 750 meters a second. And you can see I just start doing fancy maneuvers because they're firing, and they eventually start firing at me here because I'm getting close and they get nervous. I actually nailed one of them with a torpedo at one point, mostly because he wasn't paying attention. He said he was checking up on target statuses with his camera and stopped moving for a second, and I had so many torpedoes in the other one just nailed him. But other than that, like, we just kept on taking hits and taking hits. You can see I started, finals out at this point. I think does that mean Candor's out too, or is final the first one out?
I can't remember.
I think Candor was most of the way out. Candor was after me though.
Okay.
My cockpit came out before his.
Okay. So you can see I'm starting to take more and more hits here because they're all focusing me. I'm desperately trying to dodge these missiles. It just turns into me just dodging and dodging, but I keep on taking hits from those Grimlocks. Oh, that was a bad one. But you can see the armor actually holds up pretty well there. Heavy armor is fairly effective against the Grimlocks. They don't evaporate your ship like people were talking about. It's only if you have light armor. I really think that the people that were frustrated were using too much light armor with the Grimlocks.
Yes, because a lot of people are conditioned that armor doesn't do anything.
Look at those lasers just... Oh, this is where it starts to go bad because the other ship got into my range. And again, I'm desperately trying to target the tank ship so I can at least get some damage on him. And I took a bad hit there. And I lost all of my point defense. I think that was a Grimlock hit that knocked out the point defense and all my decoys. But I'm still going. I was the second to last to die. I think Scarlet was the last one.
Yeah. Scarlet and that heavy armor bow of his ship.
Yeah, and this is what kills me right here. Oh, almost. And then I took a full salvo of Grimlocks to the side, and I'm completely exposed now. I'm still desperately trying to fire. I'm starting to fire with my point defense guns because I'm like, just die! I want you to die! I was actually trying to ram at this point because I was tired of dying. I finally get the stupid guns to target and then roll and... Oh, there I go. It literally cut my ship in half.
Yep.
Yeah.
The M8 spam is a thing.
Yep. So it was pretty brutal. I mean, and like I said, TLD... Oh, dang it. I wanted to pause it on that, not stop it. There we go. TLD did a great job with their strategy. They really did. What the heck? Why is it not coming up? There we go. They had a great strategy. They had a great team. They did really, really well. Let's say, oh, whoa. Oh, geez, I'm not even looking at chat. I'm sorry, guys. I was too busy talking about rule changes need to be completely forgotten, and they need to try again from last week's. Not debate rules for several hours non-stop during stream. Lock them in 2 days beforehand. HE surprise. Hello. One thing that could have been very amusing would decoy custom grid missiles that would drag things like that Grimlock back into the fire them. That's not how they work. Weapon Core actually has a grid lock-on system. So once you lock on a grid, they're going to go hit that grid. If I go down, I'm taking with you. But that is a hilarious idea. I bet you Krieg could come up with some kind of decoy missile like that.
I think there's a decoy flare-like missile that exists, and I think there's another one coming from Pilfit or something like it.
Yeah. So Wasted said last night, rules need not to be changed a few days before, even if one weapon is broken. Yeah, no, I agree. And the fact that they change it and then mostly change it back, like you can see the Grimlocks are still very effective in here, but last night they were garbage. They were absolutely garbage. So in this they have an acceleration of I think 100 meters a second squared, or it might be 200 meters a second squared. They're really, really quick to accelerate and a very good turning radius. last night they accelerated at 50 meters a second and had a pathetic turning radius. And they couldn't even get up to top speed before hitting a target, and they wouldn't hit a target. They could literally just dance around them. It was pathetic. And so I spent literally hours redesigning a ship. I have many different ships. I even had a hybrid Grimlock in case they had unnerfed it, but as of right before the battle, they hadn't unnerfed anything. So I thought there was nothing about a nerf being lifted or readjustment the balance. But they had readjusted it, and they just forgot because, I mean, it's so much stuff going on. Like, I get it. There's like 3 or 4 of them working on it. And so that's all that happened there. And so this is a lesson. This is a lesson for them. It's a lesson for me. Just stick with your build, I guess. But
well, that's what TLD said, right? We were talking to them. I think it was right after the match.
Hello, Bucket.
TLD said they were really concerned about whether or not the Grimlocks were going to be good or worth it. And he was reading the notification and said, "Oh no!"
Yep.
And then
they were fine.
Came in and they were okay
because they had been phantom restored.
Yeah.
Because I think this would have been a very different battle if I had those 9 Grimlock launchers on that ship. Literally 9 Grimlocks. And I even remarked when I was watching with it earlier, I was like, weird, his Grimlocks are actually tracking. And I almost switched. Oh my gosh, Freaky Angelus. Freaky. Thank you, sir. Here, hang on, guys. We gotta get through these.
How generous. I'll have to get you a special banana.
Welcome to Pita, Captain Cranky, Jeray, Petrol, Silent Wolf, Percy. Stop opening things. Oh, stop it. I'm just trying to trace.
How generous.
Me _ Jared, Hellion Do, Om Nom Nomicron, Reed 2816, Even Star 2201, Commander Overkill, Fight Phil 96, Saint Lokari, AMAC 5000, Hounds Vads, Arenia 5, Chipsticks 213, Duke of Herald, Brett Mano 4. Well done. Thank you very much, Freaky, for that generous gift sub. You're awesome, man.
How generous. I'll have to get you a special banana.
I'm gonna have to. I can't turn this down, can I? Oh, I have to turn up. Anyway, I'll just turn my system sound down a little bit here, so it won't come out quite as much. But yeah, so I think we did really, really well for what happened. I'm actually going to pull up because Final sent me his. Oh, that's really loud music. We'll turn that down. Final sent me his videos here, so we're going to pop in. Oh, actually, I got to move that because there's some deadly salvage footage in there. So pull this up. Spoilers. So here we go. So here it is. And Final Ship has a great name. It makes logical sense to remove your legs is the name of the ship.
I mean, we tried to remove their legs. It didn't work.
We did. We tried. We tried so hard. Jared said, "You still really destroyed that heavy armor brick." Yes, these 3 guys did some work. I don't think anybody else did nearly as much damage to the, what do they call it? The tough snail?
Yeah, the snail.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else did as much damage. Hello! Will you say hello to everybody?
Hello!
Oh my goodness, that was loud. Sorry, everybody. You didn't need to yell.
Hello, tiny human.
Yes. But yeah, so like I'm very proud of how we did. I think we did well, and I think it was difficult to see exactly what our strategy was from the stream. Yes, what exactly, Magic? Nah. Sorry, the sound alert's gonna be quiet until the bananas go away because we're trying to talk. And if I'm talking like this about the bananas all the time, it's difficult to think.
A banana?
That was well done.
Can you say something else in the banana voice?
Would you like a banana?
Oh, that's
great.
brilliant. Everyone's saying hello to you, by the way, Nani. He's smiling. See, they're all saying hello. See? Greetings, tiny one. Hello to you too, child. Renamed to Durasnail. Yeah, it was less durable when we were shooting at it. So
When we were done with it, it wasn't very durable.
So here's Final just unloading with his M8s here. And that's the Dura Snail. And you can see Final ship is it's very pointy. It's all heavy armor, buddy. I'm talking and you can watch, but you can't talk over me, okay? Thank you. And you can see all these missiles. And so those are my torpedoes going in and missing.
And you can see a planet kind
And
of like
something we were talking about immediately post stream is I think both Final and Scarlet were regretting not having heavy spinal weapons at this point.
Yeah,
because they could.
There was a point here where you'll see in a second that Candor's got the snail's attention, and both Scarlet and I float around the back of the snail many times, and it would have been very, very nice to have a spinal weapon that we could have put on at target and tried to get those reactors that are probably on the back of the ship.
Yeah,
but that just didn't happen.
And I mean, you can see Candor right here just face tanking this ship, just does not give a crap, and is just like, yeah, shoot me, I don't care, I'm gonna shoot you back, I'm gonna remove the front of your ship. And he did. Candor literally really removing the front of the ship. At this point in the battle, I think I have flown off desperately trying to kill those other ships. And I mean, if those torpedoes or those Grimlocks hadn't been coming in, you guys would have killed the snail, like no question.
Yeah, eventually we would have whittled it down to nothing.
That's the thing, is if we'd kept it occupied and you could have chased down the boats, you could then come
that
back.
Ram. Bonk.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is the snail can't catch you. So if we'd been able to damage it, all you would have had to do is just lob Grimlocks at it until it died.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Captain Cranky says, my view from watching the match, your team did very well for being the first to face that team, though I'm not sure what DE's contribution was, doing exactly not focusing DE at all until late in the match. So my contribution was a few lob torpedoes at this thing, and then I was desperately trying to chase down the boats, and I kept at least one of them busy enough to where they started firing at me instead of at these guys, but it was too little too late. Because the Grimlocks, their Alpha-Axis fire ability, which is what they had removed, basically, came back, and with that off-axis fire ability, it didn't matter what direction they were traveling. They didn't have to point at the target. So it was just that was it. Like Nav says, my original one, I originally had 9 Grimlocks, which would have made very, very short work of those joke boats. But there were 3 of them. They definitely could have still killed me if they focused me. So honestly, I think we probably would have still lost, but we would have had a better showing.
Yeah. I think one of the key takeaways here is that we're not criticizing TLD because they did exactly what we were going to do. And I think that the other thing about TLD is they did very, very well. They fought very well, and I don't think that, just like DE said, I don't think that having the Grimlocks on our side would have changed the outcome of the match. It may have been different during the match, but it wasn't. I don't think it was going to change the outcome.
Yeah, I think they had 1 tank and 3 fast movers with DPS, and we had 1 fast mover with DPS and 3 tanks with DPS. Yeah. So I think they still would have won. I would have loved to see how it goes. I think we would have had a better chance, because I mean, if I'd gotten lucky and nailed 2 of them, then we'd be having a different story. But I don't think I could have killed 2 with how many of them were. Look at all these Grimlocks coming in. Each of them had 5, so that's 15 Grimlocks coming in. Final so this whole nose here is all heavy armor again. So Final just not caring, just shoot me. I don't care. I kill you. And you can see all these just rounds just landing. But he starts to lose turrets here, and the DPS drops, which is because these are brutal. The M8 spam is real, and there he goes. He loses his cockpit here, and then he's just watching. I have Scarlet's somewhere, I think. Actually, no, I don't have access to Scarlet. Scarlet didn't share it with me, and this is them chasing Scarlet down. Yep. Oh, that might have been me. No, that's me. You can see 2 pieces, and this is poor Scarlet doing his best. Oh, and I think he lost enough thrust, so he went out of the arena. But yeah, so I mean, it was not a bad fight. It was a good fight. We had a good fight.
I think most of our frustration is the fact, because if they hadn't nerfed the Grimlocks at all, our frustration, with them, because we probably would have lost with that massive amount of firepower. I mean, we probably would have killed a couple of their ships, but the thing is, would have been like, well, we knew the Grimlocks were super powerful. Somebody else has just, doubled down on that. Fair enough.
Yeah.
If we'd known that they reversed most of that nerf, and we'd kept the Grimlocks, been okay, fair enough, because we would have done a bit better. But yeah, fair enough. But the fact that they nerfed it and unnerfed it and then didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, that's the most frustrating part of it for me.
And it's certainly frustrating, but and again, this is also not taking away from
TLD.
the fact that this is not taking away from TLD, and we know at the end of the day that if we want to call it what it is, there was a mistake made.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
And honestly,
fun.
That's what these tournaments are designed to find. I can't do the Zockley echo, but test tournament. How he says it. Zoc's great. Like I said, all these guys are working really hard, and I remind everyone watching and myself sometimes, nobody's getting paid for this. This is all. I mean, well, Zoc's kind of getting paid for it for the views and stuff, but like, I don't think he's paying anybody else to run these tournaments. I think it was John Wack's idea to begin with. Is that right, or did I mishear?
I'm pretty sure, as far as I've always understood it, that this is actually John and Zoc came together at some point and said that let's do this thing. And I think John is using, this sounds a little bit exploitive, but John is using Zoc's fame to promote the Weapon Core tournament, which is great. That's a good thing.
And well, it's mutually beneficial because Zoc also gets, like, Zoc usually gets around 100 viewers, typically, what I see, in between 70 and like 150. And when these tournaments go on and Armco joins, suddenly there's almost 500 people watching, which for a Space Engineer stream is insane. It's absolutely crazy. You don't see those numbers. Like, Shaq will get to the low 400s typically, but and
I think there was a peak at like 650.
Yeah, it's insane. And it's good. It's fun to watch. And Zoc is a great announcer. Like, we make fun of him mispronouncing things, but, casting is not easy, especially with something as clunky like Space Engineers, where you're kind of like, I think it's over here. Oh, I got to keep that in. Oh, and the scale of this is so large, Magic and says, I vote you 3 for an SE podcast. Your voices mesh well. Thank you, Na.
Thanks, Na.
Oh, and Scarlet is in chat. He just can't get to the computer.
So
see, we said the couch got him, and he just can't get out of the couch anymore.
Just the cushions have grabbed him. He's awake. He just can't move.
I think he's sleep typing.
Yeah. Scarlet, is there anything you'd like to add to the discussion other than what we've discussed so far? I'm interested to hear anything that you've thought of that might have made the battle go differently, or things you'd like to take away from the battle. Because honestly, I don't think there's anything we could have done to make this battle change. We had the wrong ships. There were many other teams that we had the right ships for, but it wasn't this one. Your performance is pale to the comparison to Donecky's Nuggets. Donecky's Nuggets were amazing. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Oh, and it was also kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I would not want to fight that.
No, I would not. I would not. Would not, could not.
I'd be all right.
Yeah. All right, Candor, your ship is just smack. Just run into him. Yeah, shoot me. I don't care.
And probably has enough railguns to
take him out.
Reply in kind. And to respond to Captain Cranky, the reason why the back is less armored is just weight, basically. Also, there is like a baffle plate on the back to catch incoming missiles, but to be fair, if you armor everything evenly, then there's a good portion of that it's just not going to come into play.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, Wasted's live. People are bailing. Any chance of a BCG versus Armco match? Perseus, I would love to have a friendly match with the Armco guys at some point, but it's all dependent on schedule and We'd have to agree on a mutually beneficial rule set. Because like there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. I think it'd be fun. I don't know how well we do because I mean Shaq and Wasted together probably have more hours in SE than anyone. I mean Scarlett's got a few thousand hours, but Scarlett's got a lot.
Yeah.
Need to sub the potassium supplement against others. Oh, and Captain Cranky says he was talking about the snail Candor.
Ah, right. Gotcha. So the other thing, to be a bit positive, I'm just happy that I built a design that worked as intended, considering I don't play thousands of hours of Space Engineers.
Yeah, Candor came up with this design. He probably has the fewest hours out of the team, but he knows him some battleships, and this is a battleship.
It is.
Yep. There's no real danger to internal damage, and there are no internals. Yeah. So that brings me to something else I wanted to talk about. In like, they keep on they do these things, and I understand why they don't have the internals because it makes there's a conveyor bug right now where Keen needs to optimize how the conveyor networks move stuff around and how hard it hits the server because it hits it really, really hard. But I would love to see 2 larger ships with multiple crew members allowed to go around and repair man guns and things, do this kind of thing. Like maybe we have a bunch of smaller weapons and then a primary battery of PMWs with some of those big rail guns on them, and then point defense, and then just 4v4, 8v8, something like that, and we're just fighting each other and repairing the ships as we go. Very, very much more like Sea of Thieves and Space Engineers kind of thing is what I'm thinking. Instead of bailing water, you're desperately throwing blocks down and hoping you have enough steel plates to weld them up. Because I'd love to see it in survival, because I think that adds a whole nother challenge to the build. Because there's a lot of challenge to these creative only ships. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of thought and time and sweat that's put into making these ships, but I like the design challenge of having to do it survival ready. Crew battle with manually firing weapons only. Yeah, Scarlet. I'd like to know hours in SE is not equal to skill obtained. That's a fair point, Tarmac. Watching Wasted or Shaq play Space Engineers, there's a correlation.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point in correlation. I think the core of that statement though is you don't have to be crazy experienced in Space Engineers to know to be able to put some of the basics together, I think. And we were actually having this conversation the other day. It's not to say that Wasted and Shaq and team are the old guard, but they have the hours and they do take things with a certain approach sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's not a failing, and that's what experience teaches them, but
Glass
it
armor.
also means that it does result in situations where maybe a different approach would have been better, and your experience sometimes lets you exclude new solutions that may not necessarily have been the right one.
Yeah, and I mean their builds were good. It was just the they didn't work against the TLD strategy, which is exactly what you're supposed to do in a tournament. You're trying to figure out, find basically building ships for a tournament. You are min-maxing everything, and you pray that you have the right scissors to the other person's paper. Because if they bring a rock, you're in deep trouble.
Yeah.
And that's where they're trying to get these rules, I think, so that there is always a counter to everything. Right now, I think things are a little bit too heavy into the speed meta for my personal taste. If that's the way they want to go with it, that's the way they want to go with it. But the current thing is like if you have a slow ship, you're dead. Like it just doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you can get some good hits on them. You can break a few of the other team's ships if you get some lucky hits. But the really fast ships, they can just orbit you and shoot you and control the range. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, especially if your whole team is slow ships.
Yeah.
As TLD demonstrated, if you have one ship which is a slow ship, which is drawing all that fire, which is sort of what I was for our team, that works. But you need those other ships to be able to hunt down their fast movers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the current rules are a speed race, and until those change, which I would expect they will change, just what and when will be the question. But right now it's a speed race, and if you don't have a fast ship, you can't compete.
Yeah,
What's coming down to?
Yeah, it's and that's what it is. Like I said, I don't know. What do you guys think, chat? Would you like to see like multi-crew battles in this kind of setup where you get some big ships against each other? Would it be good to have like a standardized ship in that case? What do you guys think? That last question was to you guys in chat with me.
I like the customizability of building your own ship. I think having a standardized ship, it's fairer, but in a sense it takes almost like the Mech Warrior build your loadout fun out of it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There is an element of lack of opportunity when you have a situation where you have a pre-provided template of some kind. Not to say that there shouldn't be some sort of framework though to build off of.
Yeah.
Like, is there
Okay.
What limit to what thing do we have to build our ship base off of?
Oh,
for us,
here
that
it
was
is.
the point system.
I just got it. So right now we've got a maximum weight limit. I say they introduce a minimum weight limit as well.
Yep.
That'll be interesting, yeah.
Should be per ship too.
There's a minimum weight limit per ship and then a maximum team weight limit. And then that's it. Like call it, 4 million kilograms? 3.5 million kilograms, somewhere in there. You can still get a pretty quick ship out of that, but it's probably not going to be 300 meters a second unless you make some serious sacrifices.
Yeah, I think if your ship min weight limit is 3 mil, you'd be putting most of your weight into engines, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
engines and power.
Armoring those engines. Yeah, engines and power. So at that point, you're probably still going to get close to. I mean, the world limit I think is 300 meters per second or something like that.
Yep.
So you're still going to get pretty close to that, and whatever weapon system you're going to use is going to be as effective as it can be. But that means that ship has to have some minimum capabilities, whereas none of our everybody's ship except for yours in our group topped out at 150 to 180 somewhere in there.
Yeah, which to somebody coming from Vanilla SE seems plenty fast.
Oh yeah,
plenty fast. But this isn't Vanilla SE, and that's actually the speed of a lot of the slower ships. Is what we found out. I mean, like that big tank we were shooting at the beginning, that probably topped out about 110, if that.
Yeah, if that.
It was fat and slow, but
I think also the part of where we fell down. I mean, I don't know whether or not we'd actually have achieved anything if me, Final and Scarlet had chased the smaller ships, but we had no way of knowing we would be that ineffective. I mean, we did some serious work to it. As I say, I think we did the most damage to it out of any of the other teams, including Armco put a bloody hole straight the way through it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
I'm not entirely sure that hole in it actually did anything, to be honest.
No, it may have missed. Oh, well, I mean, honestly, a ship that size is going to have enough redundancy. Even if you hit 2 reactors, it's going to be fine. And judging from the explosion, I think Shaq hit something juicy when he knocked that hole through it.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful shot, though. It really was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's something to be said there about the right weapon on the right target and how do you defeat the speed mina.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know what that is yet.
I think what everyone has done to a certain extent is they've set up to counter themselves. We sort of set up with a missile boat to counter maybe one long range fighter. We had 2 sort of brawler, close in, take out chunky shit types, and we had a tank that could take apart pinpoint targets.
Mm-hmm. We were trying to counter the most common ship types we'd seen, and didn't think enough to think to the total min-max scenario of like something like TLD, because that's what they did. They went one ship all the way one way, and the other 3 all the way the other way.
Yeah.
But again,
think-
I think that's also a symptom of them almost building to counter themselves, because if let's say if you were thinking, right, I'm going to build 3 torpedo boats. I want 3 fast-moving missile boats, and maybe we'll need something to draw fire, so we'll have 1 big tanky ship. But we need all the points for these things. Let's put on loads of M8s. That's how I think they developed it, because they're almost thinking of fighting against themselves. I think we've done the same thing.
I think everyone does that. I mean,
Yeah.
Until you get some practice or fight somebody else, it doesn't really enter into your idea. Because we actually played with the idea of doing a Mac ship, but we wrote it off as that's probably ineffective. And I think, honestly, despite the beautiful shots we've seen, I think the Mac is not as effective of a weapon as people think it is.
Oh yeah, great.
No.
It's not. The Mac is a sniper weapon. Is useful in long engagements, but not. I mean, this is not a long engagement. This is a close range. This is a knife fight in space terms.
Yep.
And
I mean,
it doesn't work.
I don't know whether or not the hit scan Mac would have done how that would have worked against the torpedo boats they had. I didn't see Shaq try and shoot them.
Yeah.
I don't know if he even tried.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I would have tried with a hit scan Mac, because I mean, if it's instant,
Yeah.
it's instant. And you hit that torpedo boat, if you manage to get that reactor, it's done.
And it's so small as well that it's so compact. Although there's not a lot to it. In fact, they didn't even put blocks along the length of the hull to hold it all together if it did take any damage. I mean, and when Armco were fighting, it was one hit, and if anything, it took more damage from itself falling off, because it was only held in about 2 places. They were incredibly ruthless with that weight reduction.
Yeah.
All to maintain speed.
Yep. Min-maxing at its best.
Yep.
I'm watching the early part of the fight right now, and your ships are all holding up against those Grimlocks.
Yeah.
Only a couple hit and no appreciable damage. Scarlet took one right on one of those, what do you call them, the RPG armor that he stuck on the outside, the space armor that's supposed to detonate the weapon before it gets to the important stuff in the middle, and it worked beautifully. Yeah, you guys, I mean, the ship designs are good. These are good ship designs. There's nothing wrong with any individual ship. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with any, like my ship. I think maybe if I had min-maxed a little bit more, maybe, but my torpedoes still wouldn't have hit them. They were too fast. Because I was trying to be fast, but not necessarily as fragile as a lot of the fast ships as I've seen. And so I was trying to walk the line between the two, and I think it would have worked pretty well against a different team. So reading back, multi-crew would be fun, but I also would like to see one with thermal dynamics and realistic thruster mods. It would completely change how ships and battles have to be done. A9, I'm right with you. Problem is, I would not find anyone to play with. It would be Scarlet and me. I don't know, maybe Final. I don't,
probably.
The realistic thruster mod is going to throw a lot of people off. If it was just the thermals, I would love radiators and things to be a thing. We have like retractable radiators. You go fight, and then you open up the ports when you're too hot, and you have to deploy those radiators. Your ship starts taking damage, and you have to manage that heat. So so big high power weapons like these rail guns aren't as good, and you start like stuff lower quote heat weapons, kind of like these 203s, start to become more attractive.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about this numerous times. I think just today and the other day was that, an effective counter to railgun spam is heat management, and it works. Like the 75 millimeters will overheat.
You can see them; they're overheating right now. I'm watching them overheat on your ship right now.
Yep, and the Sea-Wiz, they all overheat.
Yep,
and it works.
And the 203, it doesn't overheat, but its balance is the slow projectile. Its projectile is not nearly as fast as an actual 203 millimeter cannon would be.
Yeah. And Pilfit's balanced them so you can actually shoot them down. So that's another thing.
Some of them. But yeah, the faster rounds can be shot down. Pilfit did a great job balancing his mods, I will say. Clonk's asking internal BCG Tourney. We tried that once. It didn't
I vaguely remember that.
go great. I try to forget. I left the videos up.
Yep.
We would have to make sure that people were around for it. And the other thing is it's going to be, I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, well, I don't really like how Weapon Core Tourney was going, so let's do our own Weapon Core Tourney, you know? So,
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
there's an element here too that this tournament is good for the community.
Yes, it is. It's good. It's bringing more eyes onto Space Engineers than have in the past. People are like, whoa, what is this game? You know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure Keen's very excited about it.
I hope
We
so.
don't actually have to make a Space Engineers 2. We'll just let these Weapon Core guys do everything.
That's a
Until
questionable
Darkstar
statement.
goes off and makes his own game.
Yeah,
Yes.
really.
Which is what he's teased, and I've seen him say
Yep.
a couple of times.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we'll hear more about it if he ever accepts Armco's rules again. Oh, man, those M8s.
Yeah. This is where they start crunching that that armor core up the front.
Yep. Once that starts to go, that's it for this ship. Because again, it's the sacrifice. He's got some heavy armor in the back, but it's supposed to take hits in the face, and the M8s kind of curve around and they'll hit you in the side.
Yeah, that's why that thruster's gone,
Mm-hmm.
and why some of the point defense at the back is all gone too.
Yeah, because the M8s are nailing them.
Yep.
I mean, that's why on my ship, all the point defense. I mean, it can fire forward, but the point defense is entirely concentrated around the back.
Yeah.
Because if I take missiles to the front, it tickles. If I take them to the back, that's where they start hurting.
Yep. Let me open up mine again. Just so I'm just something for us to talk over, you know.
Yep.
Is it this one? This one? This one? Which one? Which one's the 17-minute one? That's 11 seconds. That's not it.
I will say that like I said, we've said this before numerous times, but TLD did take advantage of the Grimlock and how well it works.
Oh yeah.
And that's again not a bad thing. And I will also say that we all know that the Grimlock needed nerfing. It's just when it needed nerfing and how it was nerfed in conversation.
It should have been they should have tested it before adding it in.
And
tested it more thoroughly, but
and I think the other thing about that too is actually Candor and I said this earlier too, is that if they did want to make that emergency balance, and like they were so concerned about it that was the problem, that we need to do something about this right now, they should have just removed it.
I think I think you're right. Because if you remove it, there's still problems with remove it, because again, there's people who built their entire ships around them. Like if they just removed it, then TLD, like, they're host.
Yeah, totally.
They're completely
They're
host. Like they have 3, and they would have done what I did. I guarantee just loaded it with M1s.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. I'm not going to take away from that aspect of the solution, because at the end of the day, there is no good solution. We know that.
Not to this one. This is, and again, it's a test tournament. Yes. And they're trying to work these bugs out so that when the tournament goes live and there are actually things like prizes on the line, that people don't get as salty as I got and instead of washing their car, they tried to do legal action. I was frustrated, so I went and I washed my car because I didn't know about the unnerf until after the battle, right? I was frustrated, so I just go outside, I'm like, clean. I gotta clean something. Nab, do you want in here? No? Okay. I did notice, I had forgotten we had done this, but right before the battle, our battle cry was "For the Pixie Sneeze." It was great.
All hail Pirate Queen Nabarine.
Yes. Play. I missed those days on Atlas when we were sinking people. Well, not actually. We did a little bit of sinking.
Hey, don't forget, people get upset when you sink their ship.
Oh, yes. Oh my goodness, Freaky Angeles. It's a test tournament. A test tournament. Just to spice up the pronunciation a bit, he says. Oh, man. So yeah, this is for you guys who wanted to see what the heck I was doing for the whole match, because I know Zoc wasn't looking at me. My ship isn't exciting to watch when it's fighting. Get to watch the explosion again. Or not the explosion.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Get to watch it get cut in half.
Yep. I mean, it died very well. That was a very pretty death for a ship.
Actually, you know what we do get to see? We get to see you run into Candor again.
Yes, we do. That's about to happen here.
I will also point out that you almost hit me twice.
Well, that's the problem. I told you guys that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be good that close. Yep. That was it. Yep. That's what killed that. those decoys on the back was bumping Candor. The thing about a league is there are typically multiple divisions within that league. Yeah, I was talking to Zoc in his stream chat last week that I thought that they should do divisions or weight classes or something. So like 1 week the heavyweights can do, the next week the light, and then maybe do an unlimited as well, so people can do whatever the heck they want. There's me almost hitting you.
Woo!
But yeah. But it was I think that's a lot more work, and I think that's why they're kind of resisting that, and I get that. Again, they're not making any money on this yet.
No, and they've been talking a lot. The best thing about this is because of the exposure to the community, because of the people watching, because of the interest, more people will want in, more people will want to help organize.
Mhm.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
And the talk about there was like a, I don't know if this is actually what's going to get called, but there was talk about a balance committee.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. A lot of people don't like, design by committee, but it's not a bad thing when you're dealing with this much information and how
Mhm.
much of it you're going to have to,
Yeah.
keep track of.
Because a lot of what happened with the balance mistakes this time around is because John just has too much to do.
Yeah,
he's got too much to
falling
do.
on one guy.
He's human,
Yeah,
and I get that.
It's one dude.
And
I mean, can you imagine if it was all Zockley? It wouldn't happen.
what's a weapon core tournament?
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, no offense to Zockley, but he's also just too busy, right?
Captain Cranky is saying you also want 2 casters, 1 stream per team. And somebody else also suggested that next, if we do this again, that we stream during it and just set up a delay so that people can't stream snipe. I really don't think many of the people competing here would actually stream snipe.
Yeah,
And also to a certain extent, how in the grand scheme of things, how much is actually going to help them?
Yeah, because if you're looking at a stream watching, you're not paying attention to how you're flying. I can see the voice comms being useful.
Yeah, you would have somebody in the voice comm listening to or watching the other stream, feeding you intel. But
yeah, I can see that, but
that's a lot of coordination for exactly how much help is
yeah.
that going to give you.
Plus,
right?
it's so scummy. It's so scummy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, we already had a chance to check out everybody's ships during the showcase. Like,
Yeah.
it's the I don't know how much tournament control really needs to be in place.
Yeah.
Not at this level, anyways.
Not at this level. If it gets to something approaching an esport level where there's actually money involved, then yes, there needs to be some more. Again, there's an M8 hit I just took, and my ship just kind of shrugged it off, or I don't know, either shrugged it off, or it vaporized right at impact. The laser may have killed it right there. There was a lot of weird things that for a moment I was like, am I not taking damage? And then I took a big hit. I was like, no, I'm taking damage. I'm definitely taking damage.
I mean, the other point that Wasted made, I think a good point, is we're sat here debating and we're discussing and doing a post-mortem. We're doing things like, this weapon is, or this tactic is a bit maybe imbalanced. We're not going, oh dear Lord, Space Engineers has crashed again.
Yeah. I know. Like,
yeah.
Look at this. Look at this.
It's so smooth.
It was 1.0 the whole time.
Smooth.
1.0 seems to be the entire time, even when my ship was getting annihilated, which is going to happen pretty soon here.
Yes.
But look at those lasers just wipe out those Grims. I took out a good percentage of those Grimlocks coming in at you. So I wasn't only trying to distract them, I was also interposing myself between the launchers and you. And this is when I think they saw me taking out a lot of the missiles, and that's when they really started to focus me.
Yeah. I mean, good on TLD for noticing.
Yeah, and also I think your guys' DPS is dropping at this point, and the tank could handle you, even though there's only half of it left.
Yeah, I really wish I had stayed on the aft section of that tank for longer.
Yeah, and there goes final.
Yeah. I think to be fair, that I think the Grimlocks are actually in a reasonable place at the moment. That personally, if I was involved in a tournament, I would strip out most of the point defense weapons because like 5 of them do basically the same thing.
Mhm.
They're lasers that shoot down missiles, and they have almost 360-degree targeting ability. It's why have that many with ever slightly different performance
Yeah.
characteristics? Have one and balance it around that. I mean, and to be fair, because those are the ones that actually work. The kinetic ones, they're good if you shooting down missiles, but they overheat. And because most of the launchers, even the Grimlocks, could probably overwhelm kinetic PD.
Oh, certainly. I mean, we saw that happen. We did a pre-nerf. We did a test battle against Herd of Cats, which was creator Velcro Void and was it Calzon, Mr. Calzon? I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And they had a lot of they had traditional point defense weapons. And it's tempting to go with the 30 mil point defense because it's very satisfying to watch them fire. And they are quite effective until they overheat, and then they're just kind of crap. And so I think that's kind of what they did. They went with a lot of the 30 mils, which are pretty good, and then some of the smaller kinetic ones. But the disco balls are so good compared to that, or the PDX lasers, or the gimbal lasers. And my Grims, the 9 Grimlocks, just overwhelmed their point defense. Especially, this is another part of our strategy, is that's why we are using all those 203s. They were supposed to get in close to the 203s and hit them with high explosives, and then there I go, and then just nail the they saturate their point defense, and then the missiles come in and don't know what to do.
Yeah, I think, and to Scarlett's point there about the 30 mil CWIS needs a longer heat up time, I agree. I also would love to see that be based on ammo type too, right?
Oh yeah, like CRAM heats it up more, solid shot doesn't. Yeah.
Which, I mean, I feel like that's already the case. I have no way to prove that, but I feel like it is the case. I'm also, I mean, there's some thought about like Pilfit is supposedly going to release a single block version of the 30 mil CWIS as well as a like a single block weapon, like a Gatling. And I would be keen to see that in the list of weapons, because it's a little bit more versatile than the 30 is, because the 30 CWIS is actually like an anti-small grid weapon.
Yeah,
right?
That's what it's designed for. It's supposed to kill small grids, not necessarily kill projectiles, though it can do that.
Yeah.
Like these
and sometimes
lasers,
it's good at it.
these disco balls, these are point defense. These are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and they are very good at it.
Yeah. And to the point about the PDX lasers or PDT lasers, the T2 gimbals, I think is what it is, are currently very, very powerful.
Oh yeah.
So that's something to think about as well.
Yeah. But again, this is all just idle speculation, because again, we've got no control over what's going on with this. But I think I really would like to see some of the block types streamlined. I understand we want to have a variety of weapons, but Candor's point about the point defense is very, very good. Right now there's, I think, 6? Yes? What's buddy?
I'm watching TV, but the TV sound is not off.
Have you tried turning on the TV sound?
Are you ready? You saw.
This is important. This TV sound isn't on. Hang on, guys.
It is on that I noticed, but was it on when I pressed this button?
Well, that button doesn't control the sound. That's the TV remote, not the sound remote.
No.
Yes.
When I played the video, it didn't work.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll say you have to turn it off and turn it back on.
Okay.
There you go. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Dad tech support.
I mean,
Sounds familiar.
8-point defense weapons, Scarlet? Yeah. There were a lot. And I think some of the missile weapons need to be balanced a little better too. I think the M8s were too cheap. I think the torpedoes are about right. I almost think the M8s should be 30 instead of 20 points. Just because the spam is real.
Not even that. What I would do is I would cut the rate of fire. And in fact, I would do that for most missile weapons. I'd have them be a burst damage weapon.
Mm-hmm.
With maybe the Grimlocks and the torpedoes aimed more at the slower end of the scale, the M8s to buff the range a bit, have them take out the fast movers.
Yeah.
Then your PD, I'd have the lasers be not as good, but more reliable, so they're always there. But maybe if something like the TLD's big ship spams a bazillion M8s in your face, they're not going to hit them all. That's where the kinetic PD would come in.
Yeah, because
very
flak wall.
I'd make them very efficient at taking out clumps of but they can't do it for very long. So the what you do would be, right, okay, I'm only going to launch half my missiles, let them go in, let the kinetic PD overheat, then I'll fire the second wave while that's cooling down.
Yeah, add some more strategy to it. I see where you're coming from there, for sure.
Yeah, there's an element of weapon core that is, I don't think it's being taken advantage of yet, and that is the kind of the strategic placement of or use of weaponry versus just having the weaponry and shooting it all at once, which is what most of this is.
Definitely. Oh man, that said, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Even the build up was almost more fun than the actual fight itself. We have a private chat that has, I don't know, several thousand lines of dialogue in it now, where we're talking weapons testing, designs, possible strategies, ship names. I'm so proud of our ship names. So behavioral limiter is Nab's suggestion, so that's mine. Candor's was be right back, just getting a spot of tea, which was my suggestion. But they're all references to channel community jokes. A behavioral limiter, obviously a deadly salvage reference, along with Candor or final ship of it makes logical sense to remove your legs. Scarlet's Ladies' Night is a reference to nap nights, and Candor's ship is the joke that Candor's always AFK getting a tea. If he says I'll be right back, he's getting himself a cup of tea.
He's done it 3 times while we've been talking.
Yes, it's true. He just hasn't said anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlet's couch. That's another community joke. That's one of the things I love about the whole streaming thing is you meet people, and you get all these community jokes and stuff. And I've met more people doing this Weapon Core tournament, and I think I'm excited for other people to get, make some friendships and grow communities of their own. It's cool. It's really cool stuff.
Yeah, the community in the Ball and Chain group is particularly good, but I think the tournament and the running into the players in it is why so many of us play or get involved with communities like this. And so, like I said earlier, this can only be good for the community, and growing pains are going to be a part of that. So it's good.
Yeah, and as Wasted told Zoc, it's a tournament. There's going to be drama. There's just going to be drama.
Always.
There's always going to be drama because people are very attached to the idea of winning. I know I am.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that hurts
really?
Watching that ship getting chopped apart. Oh man, there I go. It did look good. It did look good. Those explosions did look good. I'm sure chat's enjoying watching the pew pew. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. Anyone else have any closing thoughts? This is a short one, guys. Sorry, I'm not going to play anything after this. I'll just close out, then I'll take you guys over to Wasted, who's I'm sure doing similar things.
It's doing exactly the same thing.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I got the idea from their stream last week doing this. Because it's really hard to stream during this because it's so much waiting, and then 15 minutes of fighting, and then you're waiting again.
Yeah. Yeah. The waiting isn't particularly fun.
Yep. There was not much left of that ship.
No.
really wasn't much left. Goodness. My torpedo's still firing at it. My ship was still firing. Get up! But yeah.
How did we actually knock something out?
Well, no, his. I don't think he had enough thrust to stop himself. But after we were dead, the big boy went out of the arena and couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And my ship's corpse was still firing torpedoes at it as it was flying out.
Oh, there was one point where I lined up for a ram. I got that big ship, and because I had better thrust to weight, I was pushing him towards the sphere boundary like a sumo, and then one of the little ships nailed me in the back with Grimlocks and took out all my thrusters.
Oh man, it would have been great if you could have taken him out by knocking him out of the boundary.
Yeah.
Oh. Your ship would have been renamed Sumo similarly.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh man. Scarlett says he feels better about losing to the overall winners, and yeah. But we were the first to lose to them. But
well, that's the thing is that nobody else had the excuse of making the same mistakes we did.
Yeah, really.
Well, we didn't have any choice into the mistakes we made, really.
Oh yeah, all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. They saw what was up, and they all did better than we did. Oh, the Armaku guys almost beat them. They were so close.
Yeah.
I think what killed him was Clockwork only had one cockpit, and when that ram happened, he lost his cockpit. I think that's what happened. I don't know. Check Wasted Stream for more. But yeah, anyway, Stream Chat, thanks for coming out and hanging with us. It might be fun to do a podcast with Final. We've talked jokingly about it before, but maybe we'll do something like that. We do post tourney commentary for Zoc, only on our own channels.
Hey, it's a gig.
It is a gig. And I love analyzing stuff like this. So, and I have some experience with space engineers. So
Just a little.
I think a lot of people have talked about Final getting a podcast. Yes, a lot of people have. He does have a good podcast voice. He also has an excellent podcast beard, which you don't think that's a thing, but it's definitely a thing. You need a good podcast beard.
Yeah, you have to be able to capture the ruffling of the beard in the microphone, though.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
All right, guys. I think I'm going to end it there. We've been talking for about an hour, and then I'll bring you guys over to Wasted Space for more Space Engineers chit chat. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for rooting us on, and we will see you Wednesday for probably more Double Date Valheim with Final and Skoka. It'll be fun.
Yes, more Valheim.
Yes, Valheim. Sorry.
Someone's very excited about Vikings.
Ah, yes. Well, when you lose in Vikings, you get to respawn. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you later on in the week, or I guess next week. Words. Stick around. I'll bring you to Wasted. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.